Morning, sir.
One second. Can you see the screen? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. So yesterday I finished 71A, 71B, correct? Today we move to 71C. 71C easier. 71B is also easy. Then we will mix up. We'll take a look at simple question. And then next week we look at exam type of question. So now what is 71C is this. 71C, if she has stayed in Malaysia for 90 days, condition must stay for 90 days. If we cannot use A, if we cannot use B, we move to C. Under section C, you must stay 90 days minimum to apply this rule. If you didn't stay 90 days, forget it. So number one, you have to stay 90 days in the current year. And in the previous 4 years, any 3 years, you must be there 90 days or resident. So if you look, it should be like this. In the current year, you stay 90 days. In the last 4 years, any 3 years, any 3, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 3, 4, any 3 years, you must be there for 90 days, or you are a resident, or any combination, you can be a resident. Condition must be 90 days. Out of this, any 3 years, either resident or 90 days. Okay? Let's see. Someone there? Wait. Okay, now I give you one by one. We look at it now. Look at number one. Number one example, current year, let's say you stay 90 days. Can you be a resident? Check the last 4 years. Let's say last 4 years you are 90, 91, 83 cannot, 90. If you got 3 ticks, any 3 years out of the 4, if you can satisfy, you will be a resident. Got it? Come on there, let me admit. All right. Okay. You can see this one. You are a resident. Why? Current year, 90 days or more. Plus, last 4 years, any 3 years, you got a tick, you are fine. Look at note number 2. Here, current year, 90 days or more. Out of the last 4 years, I need 3 years. Any 3. This is out because less than 90. Any 3 out of 4. Any 3 out of 4, current year 90, you will be a resident. One more diagram. Look at this. Look at this. Current year 89. I know in the last 4 years, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay, that's okay. 4 out of 4, that's fine. But you cannot be a resident because current year you need to be 90. If this was 90, then you will be a resident. One more. Let's say here you stay here 90 days or more. I can try for C. Look, out of the 4 years, okay, okay, okay. Any combination, 90, 90, resident. Any combination, 3 out of 4. So you will be a resident. Okay. Next one. What do you think about this? More than 90, I can go for C, provided out of the last 4 years, you have either R or 90. Okay, 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 okay. I need 3 out of 4. Here you get 4 out of 4. That's fine. From the 4 question, I need 3 questions answered correctly. But you got 4 out of 4. That's fine. Resident. Now, I want you to try this. Okay, look at it. Then we will try it out. Okay. Take a paper or pencil or pen. What do you think the answer is? Maybe I can help you. Can you see this is more than 182 days, 71A. Remember 71A? Okay, 71A. So this will be a resident. What about this one? This is short period, long period. So what do you think? What rule will apply? Long period, short period. If the short period is linked to a long period, which is more than 182, including temporary absence, I can only use temporary absence as presence for 71B, right? Other sections, temporary absence cannot be included. Take it out. Except 71B, you can include temporary absence. But here, no temporary absence. So your short period is linked to a long period with more than 182 without gap. If there is a gap, temporary absence accepted, only for B. So here I can use B. Also resident. This one, you cannot use link to, link by, not a 90-day, out. So this is not a non-resident. This one, cannot use A, cannot use B. What about C? In order to use C, out of the last 4 years, if you don't have 4 years, so at least take 3 years. 3 years, I need to have a 90 days minimum. That is out. So I cannot use anything here. What about this one? This one, I cannot use A, I cannot use B. Big gap. Cannot use B. If this is a 14-day social visit, I can close the gap and can use 71B if this is more than 182, including that gap. No mention, cannot. So if this is 90 days, last 4 years must be more than 90 or resident. So that's fine. 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. So out of the 4 years, out of the 4 years, 1, 2, 3, 4, more than 90, you're a resident, 3 ticks, okay. So here you'll be a resident under 71C. So that's all I need. So you must analyze that and then you have to work it out. And you must display your answer in this style, otherwise cannot. You must display your answer in this style. First, your year of assessment, the physical presence, and whatever we determined just now. Resident, explain. More than 182 physically present. Explain. Short period linked to the previous period, which is more than 182, including temporary absence. But here, no temporary absence, no need to say that. Non-resident, 71 A, B, C, D, none of the sections are possible. This one. Out of the last 4 years, you are there as resident, or more than 90 days. Therefore, that will be a resident under section 7(1)(c). So you have to mention that. You can see here. All that you can see there. In the last 4 years, you need a resident or 90 days, any 3 years out of the last 4 years. So you can see that. Okay, okay. So the ticks, 3 ticks, 1, 2, and number 112. 3 ticks. So you will be a resident. Resident this year. Everyone, can you understand? Boleh ke?
Boleh,
Boleh,
sir.
sir.
Boleh, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, next, if you have updated that, then we look at the next one. Okay. Look at this one here. This one is 7(1)(d). How 7(1)(d) works? 7(1)(d) works this way. Even you don't stay in the current year. Let's call this current year. Even you don't stay there at all. Okay. Let's say here any number of days. Any number of days, whether 0 also can. 0 also can. Current year, you can stay any number, not 90, any number. 0 also can. No need to stay also can. Even you didn't stay, you can be a resident, provided in the last 3 years. I didn't say 4. I didn't say 3 out of 4. 3 out of 3 in the last 3 years. That means 3 out of 3. You need 3 out of 3. You must be a resident, not 90 days resident. And in the immediate next year, you must be also a resident. Only then you'll become a resident in the current year. So now you read the definition. Right? This is next year. Next year, you are resident. Last 3 years, you are resident each of those years. Current year, you'll be resident. Look, if she is a resident in the last 3 years and resident in the next immediate subsequent year, even never stayed in the current year, you can still be a resident. Last 3 years resident, next year resident, current year, you will be a resident, even if not stayed at all. Now, until next year is ended, until next year comes to an end, I cannot decide year 4. So until year 5 comes to an end, year 4 will be non-resident, because I don't know. If you ask me in year 4, what is the status? Non-resident, because year 5 has not ended. So let's say year 4, non-resident will pay 30% tax. After next year, if you are resident, I'll change back to resident. Last time you paid 30%. If the tax now is 10%, they'll refund you 20%. That's how it will work. One more exercise. If you are resident, next year you're resident. Here you'll be resident. Any number, 0, 10, 20, 30, any number. Okay, very important exercise. Let's take a look. Okay, I've given you this. See whether you can make up something. 2 minutes, look at the diagram. You can put something so that we'll discuss in a minute. But what do you think the right one? Always go for A first. Can I use A here? Year 1, no A. Can you use A for B, number 2? Cannot, because physical presence only 180 days. I need 182 for A. Can't use A. Here I can use A for year 3. Yes. 71A, you'll be a resident. Okay. Now, what about like this? Link to short period, linking to long period. Can. Short period, linking to long period, in which is more than 182, including temporary absence. Note, only 71B I can include temporary absence. If you are checking 71A, C, D, temporary absence cannot be included. So, what is your physical presence? 180. Because 71A, I cannot include temporary absence. But if you want to test 71B, I can include temporary absence. So including temporary absence is 186 to use B. What is B? Short period linked to a long period, which is more than 182, including temporary absence. This is to test B. Can I use B here? Cannot. Why? To use B on the right, left must be a long period, which is more than 182. I don't have 182. So I cannot use B here. So you're resident here. What about year 4? I can use link by. Short period, long period, you can use link by. So this can be a resident under B. Short period being connected to long period without any gap. And the previous year it is more than 182. Done. What about this one? What about this one here? I cannot use A, I cannot use B. What about C? Maybe can. Look, last 4 years, 3 years are okay. Correct or not? 1, 2, 3. And in fact, this is also okay because more than 90. Current year, more than 90. Previous 4 years, either resident or 90. So every year is okay. For this one is also okay. So I can use a resident status under section 71C. What about this one? This one, in order to be a, what do you call, a resident, the next year must be a resident. We don't know yet. But last 3 years, 1, 2, 3, last 3 years, okay. So until next year comes, year 6, you cannot qualify it as a resident. Okay. So how do you display the answer now? Okay, how do you display the answer? The answer always must be displayed in this form. That's your final answer. I discussed just now all these. Resident, more than 90 days. I cannot use A, I cannot use B, but more than 90. So this is non-resident. Resident linked to, linked by. Here resident under 71C because the last 4 years, 3 years, the last 4 years, I only need 3, but in fact, in this question, you have all the years. Okay, and currently also 90. I need only 3, but you got 4 years more than 90 or R. So year 5, I'm a resident. So here you can be a resident. This one, last 3 years you're a resident. Until year 7 completes, we don't know year 6. So then you display your answer like this. All the days I've given you, I put it here already. Short period linked to long period. Long period is more than 182, including temporary absence. This is physical. For 71B, we include physical plus temporary. More than 182, resident. So you have to explain. Here we can be a resident under 71B using link to rule since short period linked to more than 182, including temporary absence. Here, even though you state 180 days physically, you cannot be a resident under A, neither you can be a resident under BCD. 200 days, more than 182 physical presence, resident under A. This one, the current year short period is being linked to a long period, which is more than 182. Using link by rule, you will be a resident. 101, this one. You are resident because in the current year, you are more than 90. In the last 3 years, last 3 out of 4 years, you can be either resident or 90 days. In fact, you have everything. 1, more than 90, RR. I only need 3 out of 4. But you already got everywhere. You see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Therefore, that will be resident. What about year 6? Non-resident. Why? That will change subject to year 7. Until next year, we don't know. So now you put temporarily non-resident. Next year, if year 7 becomes resident, I will change back to resident. So until year 7, you pay tax based at 30%. Next year you become a resident, check what is your tax based on your income. Let's say at 10%. You already paid 30%. If the new tax is 10% for resident, 30 minus 10, 20, the government will refund it to you. That will happen next year. That's all I have. Now, I want you to analyze this question for 5 minutes before I talk to you. All right. Try. And put the answer in this format. Wrong, never mind. Try. I'll discuss after 5 minutes. Okay, before you try, anybody else having problem with the previous exercises?
No, sir.
No, huh? Okay. Try this one, please. Okay, so 5 minutes, I will discuss. So I won't disturb you, you try first. Another 3 minutes, then I will discuss. Keep doing. And you need the answer in the format which I gave you earlier, like this one. This is the type I need. Okay, keep trying. 1 second. Everybody there? Nurul
Yes, sir.
Shafika,
Yes,
are you
sir.
there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Muhammad Shamil, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, 1 second, keep trying. Another 2 minutes, I will discuss. You must present the answer in this form. Marks is given for every column. Okay. You can use some easy ones here. You see, you can put A here, more than 182, A here, 182. I can put here B, link to, out. This one, next year resident, last 3 years resident,
B.
So I can use D, correct? D, ya? Betul lah?
Betul.
Base cerita. Okay. Now, what I want to ask you is this one. Sometimes it is possible to have more than one section. Section A pun boleh, kadang-kadang A, B ataupun A, C. More than one section pun boleh. So if you can get answers based on one or more section, you take the one which is the earlier one. If you get A, forget the rest. If you get B, forget the rest. If you get C, no need to check D. Whichever earlier section. If you get A as resident, stop. No need to check anything else. Do not put two sections. Do not put two sections. Select one. That's it. And you always select the earlier one. Tengok. As I told you, ini tak boleh. Yang ini link to. This one, more than 182. More than 182. More than 182. Yang ini 71D, because last 3 years you are resident. Next year you are resident. That's why you'll be a resident here. Okay, ini dia punya jawapan. Tengok apa masalah you ada. Tengok ada masalah ke ataupun tak ada. Tengok.
Tak ada. Faham.
Boleh ya? Terima kasih. So what we do next week after Wednesday's class, I will give you exam type of question. Ya, exam. Here I dah buat semua. Tengok ini semua dah habis. Ini analisis semua dah bagi. Next time you read, you analyze yourself. So I give you next week exam type of question. So we will finish Wednesday's lecture. Just nice. All right. So you make sure you study regularly. So today I finish. Today you'll finish everything. Then before next class, revise the previous class. Like that, easy. Setiap minggu punya kerja you habiskan. Then April easier to pass this exam. Very easy to pass. Sometimes students, they attend class, they don't revise. They wait for April. April too long. The time is out. Short period, you have to study too many things. You'll get stuck. Habis. So, di sini, I masuk all the years, all the dates, number of days you stay, I put here. Then, I write the section number. 71B, 71A is more than 182. This one. Current year, you are resident because in the last 3 years resident, next year you are resident. So this is what you have to check. In the last 3 years and the next year, you're resident. Therefore, you will be resident here under 71D. You have to explain. Physical presence more than 182. Itu saja untuk minggu ini. Sekarang, time for questions. Any questions you can ask. I hope you are following. Yeah.
Nak tengok balik explanation untuk section 71C boleh?
71C. Soalan mana? Yang tadi punya tu ke atau di sini tak ada C?
Dia punya definition tu.
Oh, definition. Definition. Yang ini ke? Yang ini. Okay, ini dah hantar semalam, sudah hantar. Ini ada sana, tak ada.
Alright sir, thank you.
Yesterday I sent to you. It is there. Ini senang saja. Current year 90 days. Tahun yang lepas kita ambil 4 tahun yang lepas. Mana-mana 3 cukup. Daripada 4 kita pilih 3 sahaja. Sekiranya 4 tahun pun you are okay lah. kita mau sekurang-kurangnya 3 tahun. Resident or 90 days. Oke. Itu dia. Lagi soalan?
Sir,
Yes, yes.
my friends ask yang diorang pergi bootcamp, diorang tanya nak tengok recording video tu kat mana?
Yang mana tu? Yang mana?
For today's session.
Okay, today's session, apa you nak?
Student yang pergi bootcamp tu kan diorang ada beberapa orang yang pergi bootcamp kan?
Okay.
Baker's Hugh.
What I do, I've done a recording in the morning.
Okay.
Kelas yang sama kan, saya tak buat recording untuk setiap kelas. Satu kelas buat recording cukup lah. So saya akan hantar itu kepada grup WhatsApp.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
After this, I have a full class today. After today, by tonight, I will send it to you lah.
All
By
right.
tomorrow, you'll get it. Tomorrow. So I'll send it to the group WhatsApp so everybody will benefit.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Normally tutorial I don't record. I only record the lecture, but this time people are not there, so I have to do it. Otherwise, if I record all the classes, some students in the past they don't come. They sleep. They simply skip class. Alasan dia kata dia nak tengok video. Kadang-kadang dia tak tengok langsung. So like that cannot lah. Then our attendance also problem. So kali ni tak apa, ada masalah, topik difficult, buat recording tak apa. Alright. Thank you. Anyway, this notes all these notes I didn't send it to you. Ini semua tak ada kan? Semalam saya tak hantar ini. So saya akan hantar nanti kemudian. Lagi ni yang malam saya settle ini. Ya.
Sir,
Yes,
saya nak
yes.
tanya soalan sebelum soalan ni atas sikit. Boleh?
Sebelum boleh.
Saya nak tanya part before question atas sikit.
Okay. Yang mana punya tu?
Ni okey yang ni. Dah.
Ini.
Okey. Sir kata year 1 dengan year 2 kan link 2.
Year 1 and year
year 1 and year 2 link 2. And
Yeah.
in the year 1 it a short year.
Yes.
So why in the year 2 it is non-resident, while in the next question it stated that it resident.
Okay, next question means which one?
Bawah sekali yang last kali kita bincang.
Okay, ini kita settle first. Tengok, berapa hari you duduk di sini? 180. Under A, kita cuma ambil physical presence. 71A, kita ambil physical presence. So, berapa hari you duduk di sini? 180. 182 saya nak sekurang-kurangnya 182. So 180 bermaksud you cannot be a resident under A. Jadi, bolehkah saya gunakan lain-lain hukum? B tak boleh. Mengapa? Untuk menggunakan B, neighbor. My neighbor must be more than 182. Tak boleh. Di sini neighbor more than 182 tapi ada ruang besar. Sini gap sangat besar. Tak boleh. Gap cuma boleh sekiranya jatuh dalam temporary absence. Sini tidak ada maklumat mengenai temporary absence. So jadi ini ruang besar saya tak boleh guna. No, because this period must be linked to the next period without gap. Sini gap sangat besar tak boleh. So jadi di sini A pun tak boleh, B pun tak boleh, C, D pun tak boleh. Mengapa? C, I have to have last 4 years information. Last 4 years information. Tak boleh. D, I nak last 3 years information. So tak boleh. Sebab itu sini tak ada kemungkinan untuk menjadi resident. So just now you said, bawah sana, bawah mana, tengok. Yang ini kan?
Yes.
Yang ini, year 2, short period, disambung dengan long period. Tengok. This is link 2. Tengok hujung sini. Short period disambung dengan long period tanpa break. So here will be B. Here is A because more than 182. Ini benda no temporary absence. He actually stayed there 182. Boleh ke? Lagi ada soalan?
Okay, sir. Faham. Thank you.
Boleh ya? Don't worry. Next week we're going to do a bit more questions. It'll clear. Eventually it will clear. Okay? Thank you. Lagi ada soalan? No question? Dear students, any soalan?
No, sir.
No, okay. No soalan, then I see you next week. Have a good day. Please revise. All the notes I sent to you, you don't keep it in that form. You take it, write it yourself, file it, settle. Then only, when you start writing by looking at, then only it will go inside your head. You know, last time when I was teaching in the college, we don't give notes. We only give handwritten notes. So student copy, at the end of the day, they know already. So what you have to do when you go home, download these notes, you write it in the paper in your style, and then you file it. The moment you finish writing, it will go inside your head. If you don't write, it will never stay in your head. It looks like as though you understood, then you'll forget. If you write, you'll be okay. So all these questions, you have to go home, download or write it, and then you create your answer by writing. Then you'll understand. Okay, that's all I have for this week. Thank you for attending. I'll see you next Wednesday. Bye now.
Thank you, sir.